Now, live from the studios on University Avenue, it's Joe Souchere and Patrick Royce with Sports Talk.
You know what was kind of famous in my upbringing? They had the funeral directors convention all the time up in the Twin Cities.
Okay.
But they used to call it the Undertaker's convention, right?
Right.
And they would come in. I don't know what they did with the buy when people happened to die during those 3 days.
Yeah.
That would be very. It'd put you on ice, I
They
suppose.
left the
But
assistant back
they'd
home.
come up to
Did Richard have an assistant?
One of his brothers was capable of handling a body. Yes, Carl could bomb him, and Fritz could schmooze up the family if they had to. So you had to, you could farm him out if you had to. Like if we went on a vacation for a week.
Yeah. Somebody had to mind the store when you were out in Yellowstone.
Yes, but the famous. The old man never told stories, but you've heard stories about the convention. That was we didn't come when he came to the Undertaker's convention. The whole family stayed home.
Oh,
There was no.
That was Sons
Let's
of the
run up to
Desert.
the St. Paul Hotel.
You're not going to the convention.
I think a lot of guys with lampshades on their head and the saddle bar and stuff. Sure. You know, the chubby girls strip club and stuff like that. But
Chubby girl.
Oh, did you ever go to the Saddle?
I never heard of it.
Never made it to the Saddle. Downtown, there weren't many strip joints, but you know what?
Where's this story going?
We've got a couple of spikes here.
Competition doesn't bring out the best. The one nice thing about modern strip joint business, there's competition.
Right.
You got to have babes, right?
I would think so.
You can't have big mamas, at a strip club. Anyway,
sure.
It's got nothing.
Part of the interview process during the first phone interview, are you a big gal? What's going on?
I'm really, really anxious now to know where this is headed.
What I'm thinking, when I see place kickers, I see drunk Undertakers having a convention someplace. These guys all get together in Cancun every March and get drunk and tell stories about where they were for 2 weeks before they got cut, what tryouts they had.
I think at some point Rick Danmeyer was a member of the group.
The Kai Forbaths of the world, there's about 20 of them. They're unemployed. But nobody knows where they come from. They put a little beacon into the sky, and 7 of them show up like Batman, and they have tryouts, and then they flip a coin and keep one of them.
It's like when you're waiting at the restaurant and the red light, the coaster thing goes.
Right.
They know they got to go somewhere.
In fact, I think they all have one of those, but it's with a range of the United States. Oh, okay.
Oh, Dallas this week.
Here we go. Let's go. We got to
Was
try
a
out.
kicker ever a first-round draft pick?
Yes.
Yeah, Sebastian Janikowski.
Sebastian Janikowski.
Really?
And didn't we have a real high, maybe a second rounder?
Last year, Tampa Bay traded up in the second round to draft a kicker.
And Mason Crosby, wasn't he a fairly high draft choice for Green Bay, I think? And he's still over there. But it is quite the profession because, well, for one thing, I was saying, you and I were nurtured on straight-ahead kickers. Freddie Cox and Rick Danmeyer. The Vikings were the second to last team to go to a soccer-style kicker. The last was Washington. They had Mark Mosley. But we were raised on the fact that, oh, hell, Freddie missed one.
Right.
Nobody ever called into a show and said, you got to get rid of Freddie. He missed an extra
Get him out of here.
point. Get rid of Freddie.
All right, here we go. Sebastian Janikowski was picked 17th overall by the Oakland Raiders in 2000. He's still kicking for them out of Florida State.
Yes.
In 1978, Steve Little was drafted by the St. Louis Cardinals with their first pick, 15th overall, out of the University of Arkansas.
I can't remember that one.
In 1966, Charlie Gogolak.
Charlie Gogolak.
Was taken by the Redskins from Princeton University. It looks like he was
In the first round?
10th overall.
Really?
And then
His brother was I think came along before him.
brother
Pete Gogolak, yes.
Chip Lohmiller, second round
I think
by the
Pete
Redskins.
might have been the first. I think Pete might have been the first soccer-style kicker.
Those are the only 4 where
That was
were-
Gary Upremian, a soccer-style kicker.
Oh yeah, oh yes. That was when he was from Cyprus.
Is it
Remember?
Garo? Was it Garo?
Garo Upremian.
Garo Upremian.
And he beat the Vikings out here with 6 field goals.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was 6, might have been 7. It was a record at the time. And that's when Van Brocklin was asked what to do about soccer-style kickers, and he allegedly said, tighten the immigration laws.
Right.
But I would have to go back and look through the newspapers to see if that quote was used in more than Jim Klobuchar's copy.
Well, because it was in Kloby, he made it up.
Well, Kloby would present. Kloby might have said, "You know what you got to do, Van? Tighten the immigration laws."
And
And
then,
Van might have said, "Yeah, that's right." So Kloby might have fed him that line.
Right.
So I'm not sure. Now the Dutchman was a witty fellow. I never dealt with him, but when you look back through his history, but I'm not sure he said that. But that was.
Is he with us still? No.
Oh no, God, he voted. He I don't think he made 70. But he was he liked his whiskey. You know, that might have hastened things a little bit. He was I would have loved to have covered him though.
Norm Van Brocklin,
Oh yeah,
83.
yeah. How old was he?
He died, 26 to 83. So what was that? They don't give me
60
a date.
years old.
Yeah, roughly 6, almost. Let's see, 83. Yeah,
Okay.
83 to 26.
You
I'm
know
doing
what
the
he
math
was,
on that.
Rook? He was the MVP of the league in 1960 and the coach of the Vikings in 1961.
57.
He quit at age 34 to become the Vikings coach.
Can you imagine that?
Yeah, very weird. MVP of the league because the Eagles beat the Packers in the NFL title game. There was
Parade, South Dakota. That was
That's
his
where
place
Van
of
Brocklin's
birth.
from?
Is that right?
Yep. His family. Wow. Okay. Joe's going to like this. This is going to explain a lot about this guy and his pensiveness. Born in Parade, South Dakota, Van Brocklin, one of 9 children of Mac and Ethel Von Brocklin. His father was a watchmaker.
in South Dakota?
Yes. And the family moved to Northern California and settled in Walnut Creek, east of Oakland.
Walnut
So he
Creek's
spent his high
beautiful.
school in
Well,
California.
in other words, his father had to move where people actually need to watch.
To watch, right?
Yes.
The thing
They were
about
using sundials in
the
South
thing
Dakota.
about the South Dakota farmers, if you sold them a watch in 1935, you weren't selling them another one
Right.
for
Right.
at least 30 years.
Right.
They were not. Those South Dakota Lutherans weren't going to buy 2 watches in their lifetime.
He served in the Navy 43 to 45, foregoing his senior year of high school in the process.
Really? And he played for the Oregon Ducks. Mm-hmm. Yes, he did. And
then he was with the Eagles.
But Rams, for a long time, the Rams had 2 great quarterbacks, Bob Waterfield and Norm Van Brocklin. And it was a debate always in L.A. Now, this is before my time, but just reading up on it, Waterfield or Van Brocklin, those were your 2 choices. And that was back when the NFL was just starting, Joe, and they'd throw it 70 times a game. You know, there was none of that running game nonsense. So anyway, how
Well,
we got there, I don't know.
We got
but
there
I see
via a funeral
Yes,
director's
yes.
I
convention.
see a Undertaker's convention for kickers. That's what I see. A bunch of drunk kickers with lampshades on their head telling stories about the tryout they had in Oakland. You know,
Well, how long will this, what's his name, Bath for?
Forbath.
Forbath?
Is there a
I don't like
Forbarth
that
or
name.
Forbath?
I think it's Kai Forbath. That's
Forbath.
Forbath.
Well, he goes and misses. Listen, last year he started the season in Washington. Missed one opening day. It was 1 for 2. Missed a 46-yarder. You're gone. They got rid of him after one game last year. So he's one of those fringy guys, and if he doesn't make his kicks, they'll bring some other guy in next week. They have now decided to play the play craps with their kickers.
Has he not played then since game 1 of 2015?
No, then he ended up in New Orleans last year, but then they dumped him and brought in. They drafted a kid actually, and they dumped him. So.
Are there any more straight-on kickers?
Oh God, no.
No.
It hasn't been one. You don't
They're
even.
all sidewinders.
They don't even have those in some fold of Minnesota doesn't have a straight-on kicker. They're all sidewinders. So, yeah, it's no, there aren't any left anywhere.
All right, just a moment, please.
Hands together. Hey, I would imagine you'll be at the Wild game tonight because the Calgary Flames, your favorite team's in town.
The ambassador.
I've seen them at least 20 times.
I know when you were a proud season ticket holder, when they distributed your tickets, you always got the Calgary tickets. I don't know.
Let's see what's in envelope number 2 for me. Calgary. Number 3, Calgary on Tuesday night.
You can't trust your partners to distribute the tickets. You're going to end up watching Calgary a whole bunch.
And all he's doing is looking for the Rangers or the Canadians or...
Well, Boston's here Thursday night.
Ooh, you could go to that one.
Colorado's here Saturday night.
Colorado's playing good. Yeah. They got the new coach. They got rid of Patrick. So it looks like Joel Eck is going to, even though he had that nice little flurry, it looks like he's going to be returned to Sweden. When he plays 10 games, then it counts as a year or something of service time. And I think he's played 8 so far, and he scratched again tonight. He's 19, so if you're a 19-year-old Canadian and they will try to option you out, you got to go up and play back with your junior team. But if you're a foreigner, a non-North American, they can send you back to the Iowa if they want to, but apparently they'd rather send him to Sweden. So,
what's it mean if the Gophers beat Northwestern Saturday?
It means
they're not in the hunt for the title.
Well,
maybe.
I think, let me do this now. If somebody beats Nebraska, I don't know how a 3-way tie would be decided, but let's say Nebraska gets beat by Iowa in the last game of the season, they'd have 3 losses. If the Gophers lose to Northwestern and beat Wisconsin would have 3 losses, the Gophers would have 3 losses, and the 3 teams would have all beaten the other. So they could still tie for the title. It's not too likely.
Well, they would still play Wisconsin yet, too.
No, they play Wisconsin. I'm saying if they lose Saturday.
Oh, if they lose Saturday.
That's 3 losses for them. But if they beat Wisconsin the following Saturday, that's 3 losses for Wisconsin.
No, if they lose Saturday, that's their 4th loss.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, you're right. They got to win them both.
Yeah.
If they win them both, if they win this one, then they'll still be playing to finish ahead of Wisconsin, because if they're both 5-3 and the Gophers beat them, then the Gophers win that tiebreaker. But if Nebraska's then 5-3 also, I don't know what happens. I have no idea, because Nebraska lost to Wisconsin.
So you're telling me they might not be Rose Bowl bound?
Well, even if you were to win the West at 5-3, I don't like your chances. Although you end up playing Penn State, there's a very good chance you end up playing Penn State for the Big Ten title, because that's complicated too. Penn State beat Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
If Ohio State beats Michigan, that would then be a 2-way tie between Ohio State and Penn State would be the Big Ten East representative in the Big Ten championship game, which is the worst scenario possible for the Big Ten, because Ohio State and Michigan are by far their 2 best teams, and the ones that you'd like to see advance to the college football playoff. But it's weird, it's goofy. But the Gophers aren't dead yet.
2:30 Saturday. Supposed to be nasty.
Really?
Sleety and
well, that's
cold
probably good for us, because Northwestern's got a young quarterback named Thorson, who's supposed to be a hot draft prospect, and they like to throw it around. So it's all over. The what we used to call Indian summer.
It's done.
Can we do that anymore?
I think it's still okay.
Okay. Boy, I'll tell you though.
It isn't. No. Indian summer is warm weather that follows the first frost.
Oh,
we haven't had a frost yet.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's
so we
true.
Still might be in store for an Indian summer.
By the way, I even got Mrs. Ricey to come out on the front sidewalk last night to observe the moon that looked close enough to reach up and grab.
But it didn't become visible until 8-ish.
Well, I was about 9-ish. I
Okay.
got her to go out, and we sat out there and said, look
Fold
how
your arms.
close that
You
moon
went
is.
like this.
Yeah.
Look